Riverside.
Hello, and welcome to TheSadFan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad from the previous week. And gosh, there's a lot that made us sad, and it also bothers me because it comes in a week where there's a lot of really cool things going on in sports, like a lot to talk about. On accident,
we have sources.
We do have sources. Yes.
Okay.
That's so funny. You just don't yet. Actually, you do have a source, Wes.
Do I?
You can give us information on Seattle's field that no one else can, and I know you can. I know you can.
On Seattle's field?
Yeah, Seattle's playing surface and Seattle Sounders playing surface. You know how? Because you're friends with the groundskeeper, the lead groundskeeper.
Yeah.
At Seattle. Yeah, you didn't even think about that, did you? So
No.
You do have sources, young man. We both have sources. I only know this because I had to give his drunk ass a ride home. Hopefully he listens. Now, we're going to start in the usual place with what made us sad. I will start because yours is going to be a little bit more lengthy because we're actually going to talk some puck this episode as we get closer to the NHL playoffs because we are almost there. We are almost there. But I'm going to start with what made me sad is watching Mike Tyson presume a man is a young boy as he picked up Hasbulla and blew on his belly and played with him like it was a little child. And it made me sad because I was like, Mike, you can't be that old. Mike, how could you do that? How could you treat a little man, like it's a kid? But as you said, Wes, you pointed out, not a lot of people know Hasbulla, so it's an easy mistake.
Yeah, I mean, unless you follow UFC memes and stuff like that, you're not really gonna know who Hasbulla is. I mean, he's like a Russian internet celebrity.
We gotta stop throwing out little. Like you and I keep making these verbal mistakes with this human being.
Yeah, but he's a Russian internet celebrity, and so not everyone knows who he is. I've only seen him on social media a couple times. And so, when I saw that, I was like, is that the guy who looks like a child? And yeah, it was. And I don't blame Mike Tyson for not knowing. I mean, he's rich. He probably has other stuff to do than browse social media. So
yeah, companies to run, things like that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. It
is a little funny.
It was very funny. It was more than a little funny. That's the heavyweight champion of the world picking up a grown man and blowing on his belly. That's very funny. It's more than a little funny. So Wes, what
define grown?
That golly. We're gonna get taken off the air before we make it to the air. Wes, what has you sad this week?
I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but it's the Kraken again. Just keeps on losing. I mean, they're not losing every game, but they're not winning enough to make it comfortable. They're in the 7th seed right now with 7 games to go, I think.
Yeah.
And they're only 5 points ahead of the 9th seed, so it's
9 games. 9
games left. Yeah, that's way too much time. They need to get their shit together. I mean, they were literally 2 points out of first place at one point, and now they just keep dropping, and it's not the time.
And if they don't make the playoffs, is this a disappointment at this point?
Yeah, especially after this season.
Mm-hmm.
The way it started, the way it was in the middle, yeah.
It's funny how fans' expectations go, right? Because I guarantee you at the beginning of the season, after you and I went to so many games their inaugural season, we were not expecting this.
No, I wasn't expecting playoffs, but now now I demand it. I demand the playoffs.
It is playoffs or bust for Seattle Kraken, and it was never this, and now it's no, there's a chance, now you have to do it. You gave me hope. I love it, and it's funny because this team is really fun to watch. If you get the chance, the team is fun.
A lot, but they haven't been scoring a lot.
No, they did 2 games ago. Now, what's funny is when you say they haven't been scoring a lot, they beat Nashville Predators 7-2, and then rode that into Nashville or pardon me, into Minnesota and lost 5-1. So
Yeah.
it's like
What are they doing?
in a
Get your
sport
shit
that
together,
goes
guys.
in a sport that goes by points, you can't gain all these points and then lose all these points.
So here's the thing about the Nashville game that you're talking about. Literally 2 days before that, they had a doubleheader with Nashville in like three days, and they lost 1-2 the first game, and then they won 7-2 the second.
Yeah.
And then they went to Minnesota and lost 1-5. They're just wildly inconsistent right now.
And it sucks because there was, like you mentioned, that middle point in the season where they just put up, like, what was it? What were we counting? Like 14 games in a row where they didn't lose? It was like a draw or a win for them?
Yeah. It was like they either won or at the worst it was like a overtime loss. Like they didn't lose in regulation for a long time.
Yeah, and they've got these players that came out of nowhere, like Jared McCann, Vince Dunn, that have been phenomenal for them, and they shouldn't be where they are. They shouldn't be where they are, but now, don't lose it. Don't lose it. Go back to midseason form. You've made it this far, right? You've done so much for the fans, for everybody that roots for you, that we're kind of like, just hold on. Just hold on. We want to watch you in the playoffs. We want to see you in the playoffs. We're halfway there like Bon Jovi. 9 games left. Just, you know what? Play only on defense.
Right.
Just don't give up any goals, and then you're in. That's it.
Speaking of teams playing themselves out of the playoffs, the Mavericks.
Yeah. The Dallas Mavericks added Kyrie Irving, which is interesting, right? Because they lost Brunson. And they lost Brunson to the Knicks, which you knew was going to happen because Jalen Brunson was so good for them last season, helped them win an amazing playoff series, goes to the Knicks. Now the Knicks are great, right?
Yeah.
And they try to bring in somebody to replace what they lost with Brunson.
Add a little extra spice to the roster. Maybe too much spice.
And they get flat earther Kyrie Irving, who I think just had people thrown out of a Mavericks game for saying the earth is round.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I think so. Recently, Kyrie Irving had a couple people tossed from a Mavericks game. And I don't know if I might be being a tad facetious, but we don't really know why he has them tossed from the game. But I'm pretty certain it's because they were chanting, "The world was round," or "You are wrong." Both could be true, actually. But Kyrie Irving is not an NBA player that enjoys the truth.
No, he's not.
So at this point, where are we with Kyrie? Where are you at with Kyrie?
Well, so here's the situation. When they first acquired him, I think they won their first game with Kyrie, and they were 4 games ahead of 500, and in fourth
both him and
place.
Lucas scored 30 points or 30
fourth
or more
place
points
in the Western Conference, and since then they have gone on a downward spiral, and they are no longer in the playoff hunt. I mean, they're not out of the playoffs, but they are no longer in the top 10 seeds. So
Yeah,
I think they're 11.
And if you listen to the most recent interview with Luka Doncic, he sounds broken. He sounds literally miserable.
That's
And
what I
there's
heard.
only-
I
Yeah, go
wasn't
ahead.
able to listen to that, but that's like what I've heard. That's kind of like what prompted all these news stories that popped up from what I heard.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you this. I actually had the pleasure of working in Dallas last year, and I sent, obviously, all of you guys photos and everything. I got to watch Luka play. He is so much fun to watch play. He is.
You were his number one fanboy last year.
I love Luka Doncic. Him and John Moran are my 2 favorite players. Like, and I'm a Warriors fan, so I should be like Steph Curry, Clay. No, like, I'm sorry, I love my team, but I love watching Luka play, and I love watching Kyrie Irving play. I think they're amazing. I think they're not Kyrie Irving. Jesus, wow, John Morant play.
I was
And
like,
with everything
hold
going
on.
yeah, I had to correct myself. With everything going on with John Morant, I wanted to fall back on, Luka Doncic, my Luka crush. And he's sad, which makes me sad because I don't like seeing a player that's that fun, that exciting. Honestly, not super, like, kind of antiseptic, right? And now he's miserable. He hates life. And there's been one common, one differentiator introduced into this equation, and that's Kyrie Irving, who appears to
Yeah.
make every team he plays for miserable.
Like, what was Mark Cuban thinking when he approved this trade?
Well, I think, like I said, I think he was thinking, oh, we get a better version of Jalen Brunson, right? And that's how he made the playoffs last year.
I just picture him looking like Vince McMahon from like the early 2000s, where he's like, "I'm gonna inject a dose of poison into my baby."
Walking into the locker room.
Yeah, like when Vince McMahon brought NWO back, and then he just turns around in a chair and it's Kyrie Irving.
It really is, man. It really is. Like Kyrie Irving is like Luka Doncic is WCW though, right? Luka Doncic is WCW, and here comes Kyrie Irving, and he pulls off the mask, and he's Kevin Nash with a chair, beating the hell out of Luka Doncic and his emotions, and it's just like that's Kyrie Irving on every team he plays for.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's crazy because he's so much talent, right? He's such a great basketball player.
he really
But
is.
I never thought he was like a top 10 talent or a top 10, top 5 talent like a lot of people do. But a lot of people do believe that. Like a lot of people we listen to or we like to watch think he's a top 5 talent. And it's a waste of time. I've never thought that. I agree with you. Like I've never thought he was in the sphere of a Steph Curry. I don't even think he's in Damian Lillard's class, to be honest. He is, if you factor in what a poison he is to every locker room he plays for, he's just really bad. And he can't lead a team at all. Like, he almost destroyed the Boston Celtics, who after he left go to the NBA Finals, right? Coincidence? I don't think so. Before LeBron James got to Cleveland, guess what? He didn't win anything. And everybody's like, well, he hit a huge shot in the finals to help them win. Yeah, but the Warriors were very injured. It took a lot of luck for them to beat the Warriors in that series as well. It took an amazing block by LeBron James on Andre Iguodala for them to win that series. And it wasn't just Kyrie Irving. Any team Kyrie Irving has been in charge of or been the lead role in has been terrible. They've just been bad.
Yeah, he's not a number one player.
I don't think he's a number 2 player. I think he needs to be an ancillary player. I think he is locker room poison. I think he's done this to himself. I think he's one of those humans that thinks he's significantly smarter than he is.
Oh, yeah.
And
Absolutely.
And he is smart at basketball. He's smart at basketball. Everything else that he speaks on, I'm like, wow, you're kind of stupid.
Right. Kind of reminds me of Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, and now we can talk about that, I guess. Let's. That was a seamless transition, Wes. You kind of shoehorn that in there. You're like, kind of like Aaron Rodgers. So, what do you think about this? Like, who is holding this up? Is it Aaron Rodgers or is it the Jets?
Well, I think it's the Packers, and they want a lot for Aaron Rodgers that the Jets aren't ready to let go of. But, and they'll probably do it because it's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, they have to do it, right? The Jets have screwed themselves. They lost out on Derek Carr.
Yeah.
They lost out on Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not going to trade for Lamar Jackson, who we'll get to here in a second. So they did this to themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
They, they gave them all the leverage because now the Packers hold all the cards. However, they are going to unload him.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see them sticking with Rodgers, especially if he doesn't want to be around. And, I mean, at some point, you need to move on anyways. I mean, is Jordan Love even going to play anymore? Like, he was supposed to be the next Aaron Rodgers after Aaron Rodgers was the next Brett Favre. So,
well, I think that's what's holding this up, right, is they want a first-round pick. And the Jets have a pretty decent first-round pick so they can get a quarterback. And they want enough draft compensation to trade up for a quarterback as well, just in case. And the Packers the Jets are kind of like, no, he's 39 years old. Like, we're not going to give you all the house. So
right.
They should have made a move on him right away or signed Derek Carr, is what I think.
Where did Derek Carr go?
The Saints.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked
and the Saints
about
are doing a lot. The Saints are doing a lot to surround Derek Carr with weapons, and they already had weapons,
Well, that's good.
Oh, I think they're going to win the NFC South. I think they're going to destroy the NFC South. I think you already know. I've already talked enough. Like, you sound like a broken record with the Kraken, but at least the Kraken are good. I don't want to talk about the Raiders. They suck. Their fans just rolled over and were like, "Look at my belly, rub my belly, Raiders." And I'm like, "No, I'm not doing this with you guys." Ziegler's been absolutely terrible. I'm not going to do I guess you're I was right about Gruden. I was right about Mayock. I've been right about Reggie McKenzie, and I'm right about these assholes. All right? I'm not going to.
At least you guys have the hottest quarterback in the league.
I mean, do we? I don't know if we do.
Like, I mean, have you seen the offers he's been getting from the brothels and stuff like that? They're like, "Oh yeah, he can come by for free anytime he wants."
Have you seen Jalen Hurts in the squat rack, by the way? Like, let's knock this off right now. I'm not going to give Jimmy G the title. Okay? Now, with that, what do you think's holding up people on Lamar Jackson?
Well, he's representing himself, isn't he?
He's got a management team, though. But yeah, and apparently there's been some funny business going on with his team. Like, there's been some interesting things surrounding him and his team.
Honestly, I haven't been like paying attention to like all the little scoops or whatever.
The scoops? Is this a candy?
The sources? The sources? I haven't been paying attention to all the sources. What are your sources telling you, Fry?
So most of what I'm hearing is that no one's willing to pay the compensation, not just to the Ravens, but to Lamar Jackson. Because Lamar Jackson wants guaranteed money that Deshaun Watson has.
That's right.
And here's the problem with that is the Browns screwed over everyone. The Browns set the market incorrectly.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They screwed everything over for a worthless quarterback who's a rapist.
Yeah, so with that being said, I'm not breezing over that. I think he's absolutely a serial sexual assaulter. With that being said, Lamar Jackson is leaps and bounds better than Deshaun Watson. But he's also more injury prone.
He is. And I think that's kind of what's holding people back.
Yeah, absolutely. He hasn't played a full season in 3 seasons now, right? So how do you justify paying him $300 million guaranteed?
It's hard for teams to stomach.
And in a salary cap sport, that's almost your whole salary cap.
I mean, I don't know why the Browns paid what they did. They didn't have to, and
I think they got duped.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think the Haslams are just really bad owners, and they got duped.
And whoever Deshaun's agent is, Lamar needs to hire that guy.
Would you take Lamar Jackson at a reasonable number over Geno?
Yeah, absolutely.
In a heartbeat, right? That's where I'm at too with the Raiders. I'm kind of like how bad of a cap hit will it actually be, and can we withstand it? Because at this point, Ziegler and McDaniels have destroyed the entire offense outside of Devontae Adams. So,
I'd pay him. I wouldn't pay him top 5 numbers. I'd probably pay him like 5 through 10 numbers.
Well, I'd pay him up there with Burrow. I think he's up there with Joe Burrow. I think he's up there. He hasn't won the playoff games, but he's put up similar numbers.
I don't know if I put him up near Burrow, but
really,
I think Burrow's like top 5.
Is he your next highest paid quarterback? If you say Herbert, I'm going to call you a homer right to your face.
No, I was going to say he's up there with Mahomes and Allen.
Okay, all right. Well, remember, Josh Allen was in the same draft class as Lamar Jackson, and he plays a similar style of football with being on the ground, but he's bigger too. He's built a lot bigger. He's won more. Choked in the playoffs quite a bit, but it's a team game. So it's very interesting to see where we're at with that player. I guess it all remains to be seen. Just like the Final Four remains to be seen this weekend. And you gave up on the tournament last week. You were like, screw this tournament's drunk, I hate it.
I mean, I picked Purdue to win, and I think I picked Purdue versus UCLA.
Okay.
Or wait, was it Purdue versus Arizona? It was one of those two. I mean, Arizona lost in the first round. Purdue lost in the first round. UCLA lost
in the second round.
Oh, no, they lost to Princeton.
In the round of 32.
No, because they were a 2 seed. Princeton was 15.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Boom! Encyclopedia roasted.
Why did I think that?
I don't know. But yeah, either way, there was no 1 or 2 seeds in the Elite Eight. Freaking bonkers.
And now
Yeah. And now the highest seed is what, a 5? Four. Yeah, that's right. UConn.
Yeah. God, I hope
Yeah,
they
and
lose.
FAU
It's like Miami, right?
What the hell are FAU and Creighton doing in the Final Four? Like, this is the craziest.
Not Creighton.
Or San Diego State.
San Diego
sorry.
State. It's okay.
Still,
you got the win. You got the win on the Arizona Princeton. You just shut off your brain after that.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm done. I won.
So, I mean, in our bracket pool, I was the only one to pick a correct Final Four team. I had Miami. Yeah. I had them. They were my Cinderella. Miami was my Cinderella, and now they're like one of the favorites to win it out of the remaining 4 teams. It's like a toss-up with Connecticut, and it's like...
Did you say they're one of the favorites out of the remaining 4 teams? They're playing Connecticut. They can't be a favorite to win it with Connecticut. There's 2 other teams.
They're not the Cinderella anymore, though. They're not the... Gotcha. Like, I picked them, I was like, oh, this is my long shot. Miami's my long shot. Like,
I think they're that Connecticut's favored in that game by 5 points. So I think they're a real long shot to beat Connecticut.
5 points is, I don't know. But
it's a lot for the tournament.
Yeah.
Maybe not regular season, but for the tournament, that's a lot.
Who the hell in their right mind was going to pick FAU and San Diego State?
No one. That was a rough part of the bracket. I mean, San Diego State made Bama look like we all wanted Bama to look after somebody on the roster committed murder and they embraced it, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all wanted that to happen, and sure enough, San Diego State just locked them down and they couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I didn't think that would happen, but I'm glad it did.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, so I'm declaring myself the winner of the bracket pool because I'm the only one with the Final Four.
I'm still in the lead.
Final Four guess.
But I'm still in the lead.
No one can get any more points. You're in the lead by like 10 points.
So you lost.
I had the better bracket because I at least had a correct Final Four team.
Not according to the actual point system. According to the actual point system, you lost. And Fry wins again.
I had a Final Four team.
Hey, you know what? Take this. Take this. You beat me in fantasy football. You shouldn't have because I got screwed over in my playoff game.
I whooped your ass with an auto draft, bitch. I should have just auto drafted my bracket.
No, because it does chalk. Because I accidentally put like automatically pick my bracket.
No, just like random number generator. Just
throw a pen up into the ceiling and see what falls. Yeah. Whatever team's on that pen.
Just flip a coin for each freaking. That's what I'm gonna do next year at this rate. Like, what the hell? I mean, like there's, and then the UCLA Gonzaga game, that was nuts too.
I don't want to talk about that.
So before I'm going to talk about it. Before halftime or at halftime, I was like, "Oh yeah, UCLA has this in the bag. I'm not even going to really watch." And then I look, and my girlfriend, who got her master's from Gonzaga, she saw the score, and she was like, we won. And I was like, God damn it. And she was like, wait, why are you rooting against Gonzaga? That's fucked up. She was like, I wouldn't root against Oregon. I was like, bull crap.
Yeah, yes, she would. 100% in a second. Like, if the Zags were playing Oregon in the tournament, she would not root for Oregon. So correct that. Like, stop it. Okay, you would absolutely root for your alma mater against Oregon.
She would root for me to be happy.
No, she wouldn't.
No, she wouldn't. I think she would.
It was you. I bet you have to, boyfriend. Wait till you're married. You've experienced that before. That goes away real quick.
It's different. It's always different the second time around.
Your happiness matters a lot less when you're married than it does when you're dating. You need to be happy when you're dating because you can walk away from a date without giving away half your shit. When you're married, you got to decide, is it worth half my shit? So, long story short, she would absolutely root for the Zags over your happiness.
Oh, yeah.
Now, especially when it's the only thing the Zags have.
The
Zags only have basketball.
I mean, if it was Oregon versus Gonzaga, 100% she'd root for Gonzaga. But I'm saying, if it was Oregon versus Alabama or whoever.
Yeah, of course. But if it's Oregon Zag, she's not rooting for your happiness.
No.
She's rooting for her own happiness.
Yeah,
and there's
absolutely.
nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing.
That's you and me. I want you to be happy too.
Yeah.
But if UCLA's playing Oregon, your happiness can go bleep itself.
Yeah, I only wanted UCLA to win because I had them in my bracket, and that was like my last hope, really, of winning anything.
No, and I've told you before, like when the Pac-12 is doing terrible, I only root for Oregon as a last resort to hope that the Pac-12 gets somebody in something.
Right.
That's it. That's my only reasoning. Every other thing, I'm like, I don't care about the Ducks. The Ducks can go get ducked.
That's
now, as we continue on, I do want to say it has been a crazy bracket. What's your what's your preferred championship final?
I think San Diego State versus. It just feels so weird saying San Diego State in the national championship, but it's got to be one of those two. Versus, actually, you know what? FAU versus Miami, all Florida.
All Florida? 9
all
versus
Florida.
5? Like, no matter what happens, there's going to be a parade in the state that cares the least amount about college basketball?
Right.
I think I would love to see what FAU's athletic budget is. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I mean, Connecticut's already won a national championship, so the other three I don't think have ever won. So why not?
Have we ever had a national championship that was a 5 seed versus a 5 seed?
UConn was a 5 seed when they won, and they beat Butler, which was like a 12 seed, right?
9.
9, yeah.
I think it was a 9 seed.
Yeah.
But have we ever had a 5 seed versus a 5 seed is what I'm asking. Like 5 versus 5.
Probably not.
I don't think so either. So San Diego State versus Miami would give us our first ever 5 versus 5.
Lucky number 5.
You're just hoping for the biggest number ever, 9 versus 5, which gives you your
So here's the deal. I love Cinderellas, but like when it comes to like Final Four, I kind of like the traditional. I mean, like not your blue bloods, but like the teams that are actually good that year, like that performed at like a really high level.
Good. They're in the Final Four? Like, how can you say that? They're obviously good basketball teams.
They're a 9 seed for a reason.
Yeah, because they didn't know how to seed them. This proves my point last week on the show I did with Josh and Chelsea, where none of these analysts know what they're talking about. They're just guessing.
So here's the thing. I mean, obviously this would take forever, but like let's say the entire tournament, 64 teams, was the best out of 5 for every round. It would look way different.
You're probably right. But you know what doesn't look different is Caitlin Clark. She's just built different. And Caitlin Clark has been destroying the women's bracket.
40-point triple-double against Louisville.
She's on that ice cube.
That's insane.
And here's the thing. They have Haley Van Lith on Louisville, who's another great player in college basketball. And Caitlin Clark slayed that dragon, and now she's on to Aaliyah Boston in South Carolina.
Yeah.
So Aaliyah Boston against Caitlin Clark, South Carolina against Iowa. And sadly, this is my Boys to Men swan song for Iowa because I think they've come to the end of the road. But I still love them. I still love that Iowa team. I still love Caitlin Clark. She's the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft, right?
You're counting her out against South Carolina?
South Carolina, I told you, I think they get back-to-backs. South Carolina is so dominant.
No, I'm going Iowa.
You're going Michael Jordan versus the field.
Yeah, I am taking her all the way. She reminds me of Sabrina Ionescu when she was on Oregon, and we wouldn't won a damn national championship if it wasn't for coronavirus disease 2019.
The top, you had 2 players taken in the top 5 picks, right?
Yeah,
of that draft.
Yeah. So I'm going Iowa, going Caitlin Clark.
Are you only doing that so I don't win the tournament? I can't win. I don't think I can win because I think somebody also has South Carolina.
I had Stanford, but Stanford's long gone. So
yeah,
I'm putting all my marbles in Iowa.
I think it's one of Chelsea's second brackets because Chelsea did 2 brackets for everything.
Yeah, I should have done 2. Instead, I just did 1.
I just did 1 in each too, but I was busy.
I was pretty busy too, so that's my excuse.
So it just slowed me down. But yeah, I think so. Chelsea's got ahead of me in our bracket challenge here. I think it's Chelsea or it's Cy, her husband. But I'm like right there behind her, but she's got South Carolina picked as well. So yeah, Evil Tiki 2
That's her.
has 830. Yeah, she won. It's over.
It's over for the women's too?
Yeah, Chelsea won.
Oh, wow.
Something, I don't know, I guess my bottom half of the bracket was so bad. I had Indiana versus Tennessee in my bottom half. That's why.
Yeah. She's out sick, but hopefully she'll be back next week to claim her riches, a.k.a. nothing.
Dude, did you see the ticket prices? So it's $85 for the cheapest ticket to the men's Final Four, and it's $300 and something for the cheapest ticket to the women's Final Four. But we can't support women's sports because women's sports don't make as much money. Like idiots. I hope all these people have to eat this real bad. I keep saying support women's sports. They're just as exciting. They're just as fun. I said at the beginning of the season, the women's tournament will be better. You agreed with me. That's why we have a women's bracket at TheSadFan. And it has been. The women's bracket has been 10 times more fun.
You don't have losers like FAU in the Final Four.
You can't call a Final Four team a loser. You can't do it.
I can if they're a 9 seed.
That made it all the way through like a gauntlet of great teams.
A gauntlet of other upsets. So they had to defeat nobodies.
So what do you think then on that bottom bracket? Virginia Tech at this point?
Yeah, I think Virginia Tech. They've been pretty dominant.
It's weird because I counted them out way early. I just do not think of Virginia Tech as a women's basketball school, and I was wrong.
Yeah, you were really wrong.
Well, let's end the show like we like to end the show with some good stuff, with some fun stuff. What did you think about that video I sent you? That the softball game of the player from Carthage, Jade Walton, giving the old okie doke to the catcher.
That was embarrassing. I felt so bad for the catcher. So
that's where you went with it. You were like, I immediately felt empathy for the catcher.
Yeah, it was hilarious. But you know that girl's gonna like have to live with that for like the rest of her like playing career. Like, yeah, is Carthage a college or a high school?
I don't know. I was trying to look it up before we started. I didn't get a chance. For the audience that hasn't seen the video yet, I'm going to try to attach the link here in the comments. But I'll give you a visual representation for the listening audience. I'm going to say it out loud. Essentially, the Jade Walton is running the bases, and she gets flagged to keep going to home from third by the third base coach. And when she gets there, the catcher has the ball and is waiting. So she dodges the catcher once, jumps out of her way, and then the catcher is staring at Jade Walton eye to eye. And Jade Walton gives the ball.
Stare down for like 5 seconds, yes. Like waiting for someone to make the first move.
And Jade Walton points up to the sky, up to the right, and the catcher looks.
She points to like first base. I think she points to first base like, oh, someone's at first base, like trying to steal. And the catcher's like, what? Like just turns all the way around, and then she just slides in.
It was great. If you haven't seen it, please watch the videos please watch the video in our link in our description. Outside of that, Julie Ertz returns to the women's national team just in time for our World Cup warm-ups. The first one will be against Ireland. Welcome back, Julie Ertz, you savage. U.S. women's team going to win it again this year. They're going to win the World Cup again this year.
Hands down.
We're coming for the Lionesses in England. Here we come. Here comes Team USA. We are the Germany of women's soccer. And we are the Brazil of women's soccer. And here we come. We're ready.
Combined.
You're not ready
for
Mallory.
We're the All-Stars.
You're not ready for Trinity. You're not ready for Tobin. You're not ready for our girls. Here they come, and Julie Ertz is back. Outside of that, we are so happy to have all of you Sad fans with us. Thank you, Wes. Welcome back. I'm glad you're back home. I'm glad you made it safe from your long journey. You could reach us at TheSadFanCast on Twitter. You could also reach me at TheSadFan12. And you can comment on all of our videos. Tell us what we missed. make fun of us because all of our brackets got busted, but so did yours, liars.
Right.
You can do that all at the
Yeah.
TheSadFan podcast.
Yeah, show me proof that you're in like the top 10 in ESPN. Okay? Yeah. I'm pretty sure all of those guys were drunk when they made their brackets. Everyone who's in the top 10 right now.
Who said they're all guys, Wes? That wasn't fair for me to do to you. We will see you all next week. We will see you all next week.
Peace. Be good to each other.